A choice that would bring one of the world's mightiest empires crashing down in a storm of fire and steel. This is the story of how a civilization at the zenith of its glory vanished in the blink of an eye. How did it happen? To understand the fall, we must first witness the rise of Teotihuacan to the heart of the Aztec Empire, the magnificent city of Tenochtitlan. Imagine an island city, a marvel of engineering, floating on the waters of Lake Texcoco. Great causeways, wide as highways, connect it to the mainland, bustling with merchants, warriors, and citizens from every corner of a vast domain. Towering over the city are the pyramids, colossal stone structures that seem to touch the clouds. The Templo Maya, a twin pyramid dedicated to the gods of war and rain, stands as a testament to their faith and architectural genius. From its peak, you could see the entire Valley of Mexico, a panorama of power and prosperity. The city is a vibrant tapestry of life. Canals crisscross the urban landscape, filled with canoes carrying goods from afar. In the great market of Tlatelolco, tens of thousands of people gather daily. The air is thick with the smells of fresh produce, exotic spices, and roasted cocoa beans. Jew could find anything here. Shimmering gold jewelry, intricate featherwork cloaks, sharp obsidian blades, and pottery painted with stories of gods and heroes. This wasn't just a city. It was the center of the universe for millions of people. The Aztec Empire, or the Triple Alliance, wasn't built in a day. It was forged over centuries through shrewd diplomacy, strategic alliances, and relentless military campaigns. By the early 1500s, under the rule of Emperor Montezuma II, the empire was at its absolute peak. Its influence stretched from the Pacific Ocean to the Gulf of Mexico, encompassing a diverse array of city-states and cultures who paid tribute to Tenochtitlan. This tribute flowed into the capital like a river of wealth. Gold, silver, jade, turquoise, cotton, and vast quantities of food. This was a golden age. Aztec society was highly structured. At the top was the emperor, the Huitlahuacanni, revered as a near-divine figure. Below him were the nobles and priests, the keepers of knowledge, astronomy, and the sacred calendar. Then came the Pochteka, the long-distance merchants who acted as both traders and spies for the empire. The backbone of it all was the common people, the farmers, artisans, and the formidable ranks of eagle and jaguar warriors. They were a people of deep spirituality, their lives intertwined with a complex pantheon of gods. They believed the universe was cyclical, and that their gods required nourishment to keep the cosmos in balance. This belief drove their culture, their art, and even their warfare. It was a world of order, wealth, and unshakable power. It seemed that nothing could ever challenge the might of the Aztecs. But on the horizon, a storm was gathering, and it had sails. In the year 1519, strange reports began to reach the emperor's court. Tales of floating mountains on the eastern sea, carrying men with skin as pale as the moon, hair like the sun, and beards that covered their faces. These newcomers commanded thunder and lightning from sticks they carried, and rode upon giant, four-legged beasts, the likes of which had never been seen. This was the arrival of Hernan Cortes and his small band of Spanish conquistadors. For Montezuma, this was a moment of profound uncertainty. Aztec prophecies spoke of the return of the god Quetzalcoatl, a feathered serpent deity who had sailed east, promising to one day return. The year 1519, according to their calendar, coincided perfectly with the predicted year of his arrival. Was Cortes this long-awaited god? Or was he simply a foreign invader? Montezuma was a powerful and experienced ruler, but he was also deeply religious. He was caught in a web of prophecy, political pressure, and sheer disbelief. After much deliberation, he made a decision that would forever alter the course of history. Instead of meeting the invaders on the coast with the full might of his army, Montezuma II chose a path of diplomacy and cautious hospitality. He decided to welcome Hernan Kortz and his men into the heart of his empire, into the magnificent city of Tenochtitlan. He would greet them not as enemies, but as honored guests. He showered them with extravagant gifts of gold and precious artifacts, too, hoping perhaps to impress them or maybe to satisfy their greed and convince them to leave. But the sight of such incredible wealth did not placate the Spanish. It only ignited their ambition. The gates of the greatest city in the Americas were thrown open, and the seeds of its destruction were sown. The initial encounter was a fragile peace, a tense coexistence between two worlds that could not have been more different. The Spanish were awestruck by the scale and sophistication of Tenochtitlan, a city larger and cleaner than any in Europe. But beneath the surface of diplomatic courtesy, mistrust was brewing. Kortz, vastly outnumbered, knew his position was precarious. In a bold and audacious move, he took Emperor Montezuma hostage within his own palace. The Aztec leader, a virtual god to his people, was now a prisoner. The city was a powder keg, and the fuse had been lit. Centaur. The situation exploded when one of Kortz's lieutenants, left in charge while Kortz was away, ordered a massacre of unarmed Aztec nobles celebrating a religious festival. The city erupted in fury. The Aztecs, who had once viewed the Spanish with a mixture of fear and awe, now saw them only as murderous invaders. They rose up, driving the Spanish out of the city in a brutal, bloody retreat known as La Noche Triste, the Night of Sorrows. Hundreds of conquistadors died, and all their plundered gold was lost to the depths of the lake. But Kortz was not a man to accept defeat. He retreated, regrouped, and forged alliances with rival native city-states who had long resented Aztec rule. He returned not just with his own men, but with tens of thousands of indigenous allies, all bent on the destruction of Tenochtitlan. What followed was not a battle, but a siege. The Spanish cut the causeways, isolating the city. They built a fleet of small warships to control the lake, and crucially, they brought with them an invisible and far more deadly weapon: smallpox. The disease, to which the native population had no immunity, swept through the city like a wildfire, killing thousands and weakening the defenders. For 80 days, the Aztecs fought with incredible bravery, house by house, street by street, but against steel, cannons, and a devastating plague. Their obsidian-tipped spears and courage were not enough. The once gleaming canals ran red with blood. The sounds of the bustling market were replaced by the screams of the dying. The pyramids, once centers of worship, became final points of defense. Finally, on August 13, 1521, the last Aztec emperor, Cuauhtémoc, was captured. The resistance was over. Tenochtitlan, the magnificent jewel of the Americas, the city of dreams, was now a smoldering ruin. A civilization that had thrived for centuries was brought to its knees. One decision, born of prophecy and uncertainty, had unlocked the door to catastrophe. The Aztec sun had set, and a new, brutal era had begun on the ashes of their once great empire. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the past. If you found this story fascinating, please hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history's most pivotal moments. Let us know in the comments what other historical events you'd like to see us cover. See you next time.